Hi, everybody. It's Karen Anderson here with Aortic, and we are getting ready for our final live Q&A of 2022. I cannot even believe that this year is almost over. But before we get started, I'm going to ask you guys to please click the like button, click that subscribe button, and click the little bell. So this way you're notified every time we go live, whether it's our weekend review or a live Q&A or something fun and ridiculous that we might do to bring you joy and laughter. So without further ado, it's my new coin phrase of the year. I am very excited to bring to you Wes Michael of Rare Patient Voice, and he's going to introduce himself to all of you, and then we're going to get into the nitty gritty of why this is an organization you need to sign up with and what you're able to do for them, how it's going to help you and help us and help many others. And let's just take it away, Wes. We're so excited to have you with us. Thank you.
Thanks, Karen. Yeah, where has 2022 gone? Geez,
I know, right?
I'm all confused. And then, for the first few months of the year, I'll be still saying 2022, and then I'll finally get around to it. But it's so great to join you. Where to begin? So I founded Rare Patient Voice 10 years ago. Now we're very excited because 2023 is our 10th anniversary, and we're going to do a lot of 10 things, a lot of celebrations with 10. We'll have paid patients $10 million for taking part in surveys. So I've been in healthcare market research for many years, and even regular research. I used to do research for Wheaties and Cheerios and things like that. And it's always good to find out what people think about their breakfast cereals and McCormick spices and things. But healthcare is a whole nother. It's life and death, right? And if you're a mom of a kid with some, it's even more. It's your kid's life and death.
Right.
And so I got involved in this, and I found out that patients and their caregivers, family caregivers, they love to talk about it. They want somebody to listen to them. They have a lot of opinions, and they want the big companies and people working on treatments. They want to be heard. And I saw that when I was talking to people, and then I found out it's not always easy to find the people. I mean, in your group, okay, but what if somebody was just starting from scratch and they were working for a pharmaceutical company and they were looking for an aortic stenosis patient, whatever it might be? They don't know where to start. Exactly. So anyway, what we've done is very, very simple. We're like a matchmaker, right? So we go to events, walks and fundraisers and things like that. Then COVID hit. That's a whole other story. But in person, we would go to the events, meet with people, and explain that, hey, you can take part in surveys. You can do phone interviews. You can do online survey. It's confidential. Nobody knows who you are. The data's, that's the most important thing. Your data's not out there. Nobody's seeing that. But they're seeing your opinions, and you get paid for it. So a win-win. And our clients, it's a win-win. It's like, oh my God, we can find these people. We can learn about them. We can find out how to improve our program. We can find out where we should look for, what kind of cures they're looking for, whatever it might be. So it became a real win-win. And then we've grown from that idea and going to a conference here or there. Now we've done 7,500 projects. We paid patients $10 million for taking part in studies.
Amazing.
And we've covered over 700 and some diseases. Actually, it depends on how you count it, because as you know, diseases and subdiseases and things. We used to say 750 diseases, but now somebody said, well, the way you count, really should count it, it's well over 1,000 different conditions and diseases. So it's anybody and anything that companies may be interested in. So right. Just kind of, and then I always say it's good news when we have a study for people, because companies don't do this for fun. They don't take their time and their money and just say, oh, let's see what people think. They do it when they have a reason to do it. They have a new treatment, typically. Mm-hmm. And so that's why I say it's good news. Somebody's got something new they're working on. Is it really good? Is it a little bit good? I don't know, but it's got to be an improvement. It's got to take us a step further towards treating or reducing pain, or maybe even a cure. I mean, it's amazing what they're doing these days, right? With genetic research and things like that.
Huge.
Some diseases, looks like they're finding cures. Now it's a long way between here and there, but hey, you got to start somewhere. Mm-hmm. So a long rambling answer, but that's in a nutshell. We can talk about different pieces of it. That's what I'm happy to do, and we've grown, and Had a great time because I love meeting patients. I love talking to folks, hearing what they're doing. It's inspiring. And then we can give an opportunity to share their voice.
Well, I think every time I've spoken with you, which is a couple times now, I'm still even learning more. So the way that you just presented this really is the one line that overcomes the objections. And that there's a couple things. One, I can't impress upon people enough that it is anonymous.
Right,
Nobody's
right.
going to get their name or social security number or their address. They may know, maybe their state, I don't know, or maybe that's just part of the qualifying questions. But the point is, they just want to know their opinion about whether it's something to do with a medical device. Do you deal with packaging of medications? I don't know.
It
It could be
anything.
anything, right?
Yep.
And the key is, if a company, or because we've talked about this before, it could be nursing students. Whoever's willing to pay money to you to do this means there's something there. And that should be exciting to all of us. And what I also figured out, because I just got so many things wrong with me, which is to benefit to me now, actually.
We love people like that. Sorry.
Right, of course you do. And I wait for my next survey. But if you have conditions, it could be that you have IBD and you have aortic stenosis, and maybe you even had breast cancer at one point in time, or there's so many conditions now that you just want to go back in and update, or when you sign up, make sure you check off everything, right? Because that expands your opportunities to be presented with a survey.
That's exactly right. It's I always say I'm not hoping you have a lot of things, but
of course,
but you should mention each one, because each one we could get a request for.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things, I mean, it sounds obvious now, but it was a surprise to me when I started this, was nobody has one. Disease, unfortunately, they go autoimmune disease, they go together. They travel together.
Right.
And that's one of the things that we changed along the way. When I first started, it was just rare diseases. Mm-hmm. I said, people will find the non-rare. There's big panels that do Cheerios and Chevys and research for everything. They can find people with diabetes, for example.
Yeah.
And so I said, well, they're not going to be interested in that from us. But then people said, wait a minute, I may have hemophilia, but I also have anxiety. Should I put that down? Or I might have asthma. Mm-hmm. I'm like, good question. And then all of a sudden a client said, do you have patients with asthma? So we said, okay, we're not going to say no to anybody.
Right.
So please list everything. You get more opportunities.
Right.
And it's important for them to realize, because, one of the clinical trials, one of the complaints about them, I mean, they've done very scientifically, right? They got to know exactly what they're doing. So it's certainly beyond me. And I know they have reasons for doing what they do, but they'll often only take people with a certain disease and no other diseases. And for scientific reasons, that may be important. But those aren't the normal patients. Most people don't just have disease A. They have this and that and the other. Yeah. Our studies, for the most part, it's like, we're not restricting you for that. We want to get the voice of all the different patients in this. So it is important for people to do that. We like to remind people, hey, update your profile, put that information in there, just so that you're invited to more opportunities to share your opinions.
So when somebody signs up, now they've opened themselves up to receive an email that's going to say, hey, I've got a survey that we think, just looking at you on paper, might be a fit. If you're interested, and it says it right there, it's going to be maybe 20 minutes of your time for $35 or whatever the amount could be, because it tends to range anywhere from about 20, 25 upwards of 150, depending on the intricacy of the survey, how much time you're going to need to give, is it 1 or 2 parts or what have you. And so if you're interested, you click the link. It's going to do your initial screen down or screen in questions. We're trying to screen you in for the survey, and then take you forward if you're accepted. If you're not, you'll get your email. You'll be sad for a second, but then you'll get another one.
It's like I hate that part, but but not everybody. But you lead me. We have a big announcement.
Oh, what is it?
We are increasing. We're giving everybody a raise.
Okay, I like that.
Right, there's been inflation, right?
Yeah.
We for many years we've paid people at the rate of $100 per hour. So it's an hour phone interview, they get $100. It's a half hour online survey, which would be typically $50. We're raising that to 120, 20% raise.
Okay.
So hey, we realize, and you know what? I love it. When we first started, people were used to surveys giving 3 points or nothing, and we said no. patients are worth more than that. And we didn't get a lot of backlash. Most companies are like, sure, because they're paying a lot more to talk to a physician, and they do that all the time.
Right.
And I like to say, and sometimes people say, oh, I'll do it even if I don't get paid. And I appreciate that, but I say, there's a value to getting paid. Your opinions will be listened to more if people are paying for them.
Exactly.
Because if you think of a pharmaceutical executive, if they just said, well, some lady said this, but they no, we got these folks and we paid X amount to hear them. Let's listen to what they have to say.
Right.
So it's not just, and then sometimes people also say, can you give the money to a charity? And that's very nice, and we appreciate that. But what we say is, we're going to give it to you. You can do whatever you want with it. So feel free to just, we don't want to get involved in, oh my God, they want this charity and they want that charity. We just want to give it to you, but you're totally free because it's cash. It's not a gift card. A lot of research does gift cards, and gift cards are fine, but we ask patients along the way and think about it. A lot of patients, because of their disease, or they're caring for their kid, and they've so many. It's often a mom has given up a career. I had a Harvard MBA, but she's given up. She's watching her kid 24/7, and so money for co-pays, money for rent. A gift card doesn't work for that. So we send a check out, and we ask people that, and they say, yeah, please do that. So we like to do that. People, you can do anything with it, but if you want to give it to Aortic Hope, for example, you're welcome. Yeah, you're welcome. So I don't want people to say, well, I don't want to do it because I don't need the money. It's like, when we ask people why they do it, that's not the first thing they say. The most important thing is, hey, somebody wanted my opinion. I'm helping. I may be helping myself, or if not me, maybe those coming after. And then they say, hey, the money was nice too, or it was great around the holiday season. But they don't usually lead with, I'm doing it for the money. But it's nice to honor them.
So I have a question. So sometimes people get turned off by this. They're like, oh, they just want to fuel big pharma. I'm not even sure that they understand what they're saying when they say that. Can you go into a little bit more detail about exactly who your clients are that are asking these questions?
That's a great point, because yes, some people are like, wait a minute, aren't I just helping pharma manipulate? And believe me, I'm not going to defend pharma. They do wonderful things with treatments and such, but they're businesses and they're in search of profits, like any business. Our clients are not pharma. Indirectly, they're pharma. We work with independent market research companies. So if you're a pharma company and you're developing a new treatment for aortic stenosis, you're gonna do a lot of research, medical research, but you're gonna say, well, we want to talk to physicians, we want to talk to patients. They'll go to the market research companies that they like, moderators and statisticians, and they'll say, what should we do? And they'll devise a program of research. Let's do some phone interviews to get an idea. Let's do some surveys to quantify it. Let's show them a description of our product and find out what they like and what they don't like. They'll work that up, and then the research companies say, great, and they'll say, how are we going to find these people? So then they come to us, and so we're dealing with that research firm. So it's another way. It puts another firewall, if you will, because we know who the people are that do the survey. But we don't see the answers to their questions. We don't see the interviews. We don't see the questionnaires. Our clients are the reverse. They're the research firms. They see the answers, but they don't know. Everybody gets this long code number, their ID.
Okay.
They know ID XYZ answers the questions this way, but they don't know who that person is. And then their client, pharma, they don't even see that. They see 42% said this, so it really, there's several layers of protection there.
You are like this weird recruiter, matchmaker person. You kind of are like this, you're connecting people to the market research, which is, so it's not like the company's coming to you and they're actually, you're right, which I didn't know this either. They're just getting the final tabulation. There's a step that's in between there, and that's who your client
Somebody's got to look at it, analyze it, give them advice based on what they see. They have to figure out how to ask the questions. I used to do all that, but not in previous lives. And then we set up this company. So I said, leave all that to those folks, and we just find the people. But that leads to that question, though, because some people are concerned about, well, wait a minute, is that helping pharma exploit us or that kind of a thing? The way I look at it is, if I'm developing a new drug, a new treatment, I have a lot of decisions to make. I have to pick a name. I have to figure out what kind of research to do. I have to say, well, how much should we make it stronger and have a higher side effect? There's a lot of decisions and a lot of marketing. They're going to make those decisions one way or the other. They're going to have to. If they're going to get the market, they have to decide what the name is and what the color of the package is and what they're going to say about it and what programs they're going to offer to help pay, all these things. So they're going to do that. Wouldn't you rather be influencing that decision than letting them pull it out of the air?
Oh, absolutely.
Inevitably, they're just going to talk to their friends and they'll do it wrong because they'll know other MBAs. It has nothing to do with a real life person. So they talk to real patients, people that are facing this every day. It can only give them a better perspective about how to do it. That's how I look at it.
If you're so in my prior life, Crohn's disease, which is how I found your organization, it was at a Crohn's and colitis walk. I have done market research with another firm where I sat in, they're behind the two-way mirror, the whole thing. I've done it with makeup, whatever. I love talking and giving my opinion. But this was specifically about the packaging for what had then been, I'm guessing, if it wasn't Humira or Cimzia, it was the Entyvio, the next biologic drug that came out. And so I found it very important. I wanted to tell people that I did not want to put an injectable. I wanted an auto inject pen, and I did not want it to be loud because the sound is what startles you.
Interesting. Because some people say, "Who cares about that?" But they need to hear that.
Yeah, when you need to give yourself a shot, you want it to be quiet, because otherwise, if you jump, that medicine's now shooting out.
Right, and then it sounds more dangerous in your head than it is.
You're associating this loud click with a needle that's not going to feel joyful. So it was also the marketing campaign. It was the colors. I wanted something that was more soothing. Nobody realizes the intricacies of these details and that it does play a part of something I'm going to have to put in my body. So if I needed to be on a new blood thinner because I have a mechanical valve and a new drug was coming out that told me I only had to take it once a week versus 2 or 3 times a day, you're darn straight. I want to know, okay, how can I impact this? Because right now it already sounds good, but now you're telling me I might see thinning in my hair. Okay, tell me more.
You want to know all the pluses and minuses.
Right. I want to be able to tell you, for me, where side effects rank, where packaging ranks. And even though nobody knows who I am, they know my opinion. And so that's what I think you should do.
For many, many people like you that aren't getting a chance to. So you're representing a lot of opinion. And again, if you said the noise is important, but they talked to 99 other people that didn't say this, well, okay, they might ignore that. But at least they listen to the people.
Exactly. And that's why I think what you guys do is so important. And we talk about you monthly. And then, there is the flip side, which is very minimal to us, but it's important to be open that every new person that signs up with you, Aortic Cup does receive a thank you of $10. Only new, not repeat or changing your profile. So that's just nice. That's great.
That's what we call our referral program,
which is wonderful.
And you know how I said we love to go to patient events, and that's why we started. But a couple things happened. Well, one was COVID. Well, nobody had in-person events.
Right.
And people have wonderful online events, but people don't necessarily go to a virtual booth, right?
Yeah, right, exactly.
So and organizations like yours, they still need to raise money. So we say it's what is one of our guys calls it a passive fundraiser. So it's really a win-win. If you can get the word out to people and they sign up, and then nobody ever gives us a name. They have to sign up. It's totally up to them. They can look everything up. They can ask a million questions. But we give you guys a link, and we do this with hundreds of organizations now. So if they sign up, we say, oh, they came from Aortic Hope. And so that's how we say, oh, they get a reward for this, the $10. So nobody gets rich, but it honors you guys. We love to promote that. And you know what's another great benefit of that? Because the clients are always asking, well, are these people real? Do they really have the disease? Because believe it or not, I guess it's like anything, right? Anytime there's money in an industry, there's going to be fraud. There's going to be scams, right? Everybody's trying to always get into your computers and horrible things people are doing. Do you know there are like click farms in other countries, fake bots doing surveys to get money, right? It's like, well, you don't want their opinions. So what we do is again, we love them when we meet people in person. When somebody signs up online, we look very careful at them. There's various things that goes through. It looks, and we'll talk to them on the phone. We'll say, because we want to make sure they're real for that. But when we work with an organization like yours, They're real because
Mhm.
you're not out on the street asking anybody to just click. You know what I mean? You're
Right.
asking your members. So we find it's super high quality. So it's,
Mhm.
our
Mhm.
clients love that too because
Yep.
they get worried about that. And we say, hey, I'm paranoid about it too. I'd rather have fewer
Mhm.
people and real people than a lot of people and we're not sure who they are.
Right.
So so we love that. It's again another win-win. You guys are doing some of the work for us, finding people. It's great when we can't be out at all the events in the world,
Mhm.
and it gives people the opportunity. And again, when you're just going to events, if you lived in Montana, well, we're not going to get to your walk probably.
Right.
You know, it's
Exactly.
not Chicago or Baltimore or New
Right.
Jersey. But hey, you can be referred, you can be part of a group, you can
Mhm.
get, because companies need your opinion too. They don't just need the
Yeah.
people that happen to be near where we're, you know, where we go to events. So it's a
Yeah.
great way to do it. And I found patients know, guess one of my key learnings. You think I must have been really stupid when I started. Patients know other patients, right?
Yes, they
They're in
do.
support groups,
Yeah.
they're relatives, and patients can forward. It's the same thing. They can let their friends know
Mhm.
and do that. And it's been wonderful. When I first started, I said, okay, this is great. I went to an MS walk with my daughter in Albuquerque, and then my son and I went to one in Chicago, and I went to the Baltimore. Well, I went to some. It's like I can't go to everything in the whole country. Somebody I met in Albuquerque was well connected. She knew everybody seemed like in the whole country, you know.
Mhm.
So we don't have to go everywhere. You go to a lot and
Right.
get it started, and people know people know people know people, and all of a sudden, all 50 states we had covered.
Yep.
Um,
Exactly. Now, I
so it's
do want to
great the
ask
way it
you,
works.
what happens if you are, because this is, I think this is a good question. If you're accepted and you do a survey,
Yeah.
some places make you wait 90 days, 6 months, whatever it is before you can participate again. Or do you have terms like that? Or can they just go and answer the next one that comes in?
We personally do not.
Hmm.
It would be our clients, the people doing a survey. They may or may not. The interesting thing is, the rarer the condition, the more they have to throw the rules out,
Hmm.
if you will. If they're just doing back to Cheerios or something, hey, we don't want somebody that's done other research. The theory being that they're, you know, they're thinking too hard, they may know too much or something like that.
Sure.
When you're talking about a rare disease, especially if there's one, sometimes a topic gets hot. Again, good news. It means somebody's really getting close to market, or maybe more than one company is working on a topic, and there's various studies going on.
Hmm.
Um, so sometimes they get to a thing where people get qualify for several in a fairly short period of time. Um, it's up to our clients. If they want to really be strict about it, that's perfectly fine. We typically will recommend, hey, it's tough enough to find folks for this. You may want to do it. And what we've found is um, people aren't unduly influenced by having done another study. As a matter of fact, it's not like they do it and that's all they think about. They do
Hmm.
it and they go on with their lives. And 2 weeks later, if something else, they're not thinking, hey, this is similar to, you know,
Right.
it's not as big an issue as people think it is. One of the things that's typically put in those screeners to screen people out is are you involved in medical profession?
Hmm.
And that gets a little crazy because what is it? 20% of our economy is the medical profession. And I
Right.
remember one time, um, I think it was a woman said, I was disqualified for this study. She said, they asked that question, you or anybody in your family. She said, my husband was a janitor in a hospital 30 years ago. I'm like, so anyway, the client said, no, we can take her.
Sure.
But
Sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
let's not go crazy here
Right.
because in general, people, again, they're real patients and they're giving their opinions. And that's
Hmm.
what more can anybody ask? Um,
Exactly. Exactly. And you know what you need to consider now that
yeah.
everything's coming in tens? Because we'll
Yeah.
often have a contest and people that don't win, we put them all in for the biggest loser. So I'm
Uh-huh.
wondering if when you're doing a study, if you could track people who got declined and put everybody in for one random draw
You
for the
know, it's
prize.
funny you say that because we just started doing that. Were you the
Did
one
you?
that somebody
Okay.
gave us that idea? Maybe it came from you. So we take everybody that hasn't qualified and every month, and then somebody wins $100 gift card. And because
Okay.
it
All
doesn't
right.
to help but what we're trying to communicate is we get
Mhm.
it. We know it's frustrating,
Yeah.
but please keep trying. We tell our
Sure.
clients, please keep these screening things down under 5 minutes. Sometimes, but we say if it goes over 10 minutes, you've got to compensate people
Yes.
because
Yes.
sometimes they get carried away and they ask questions in that screening thing
Hmm.
that aren't screening questions. Well, only ask what needs to be answered for people to qualify.
Right.
Save your questions for those who qualify because you're wasting people's time. The
Hmm.
other important thing we have to remind people of is if you do not qualify for a study, your data is not being used. Some people think I gave it, I didn't qualify, and they're using my data. I get it. I would be angry if that were the case too. But no, if you don't qualify, they don't get any of that data. So they're just hurting themselves if they have a long thing and don't let people in.
Right.
But yeah, we certainly don't let that happen. But yeah, we like to do that. I just feel like, what are the odds of winning a drawing of that? But at least people feel that they have a chance. And a lot of people have a good attitude about it. They say, "Oh, let me try next time." You know?
Because there's nothing worse than when it's like, I think I'm getting closer, and womp, 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 womp.
Yeah.
But now I know I'm going to be entered. I got a second chance now.
Exactly, to be honored.
This is great.
And what we tell people too is, because sometimes people make an assumption. Oh, it must be my age, or it must be this or that. Two things. Please feel free. We say the emails you get are from one of our project managers, and they're all individuals, and they work on. A lot of times they can tell you why you didn't qualify. They can't tell you beforehand because they don't want. They want it to be fair and square. But afterwards, they can at least say, you know what, you were. It was such and such. So at least it doesn't change it, but I think you feel better if you know why. The other thing it does is, what was I going to say? They don't qualify.
Because there's been times where I've gone through it and I haven't qualified, and I think for the life of me, I cannot even imagine, because I have an answer for every one of those questions, and I'm going along it, and then all of a sudden, and I just chalk it up to maybe you already have the quota for people that answer yes.
That's what I was going to say. You may be perfect. You may fit it, but they might have said we want 10 people like that, and you're number 11, and it's like they've already got the 10.
11 in that age bracket.
Nothing wrong. Next time, just be quicker, right?
Right, exactly. So as soon as you get the link, don't wait until the end of the day. Just don't be driving, but click on it. Because I'll tell you, one of our board members, she's probably in the first few months of her doing this, when she started, she probably earned herself over $250. She just zap. As soon as it comes in, she stops what she's doing. She answers the question. She's like, yes, I can do another one. And she loves it. She loves it for the money, and she kind of looks at it as a game, but she feels good about being able to help. So what I try to tell people is there's so many different ways to help aortic cope, right? And there's many different ways to help your community, even if you feel, well, what am I? I'm just a person. I had a surgery. Who am I? Well, you have a voice, and you can express that voice, which may in turn be ready to help you in the future or the next person that comes.
If there's something you went through that you could say, you might mention it, and that may never have occurred to them. They're like, oh, we can fix that, or we don't have to do it that way, or and then they could explore it further, and then they could put out the word. Or if everything went fine, express that too, because they may need to know that. So it can never hurt to it's like they used to say about voting, right? Every vote counts. You never know what election will get down to one vote. So you want to you rather have it go your way than the other way. So
and I got to tell you, every time, like I said, I learn more and more, and I'm rewriting the narrative a little bit more in my mind on, again, why this is so important, and how somebody who's just a community member, they do have a lot of control on how they can contribute to the community at large. And this is one of the ways they can do that. So I do want to check and see if we have any comments or questions from the community.
I've polled to see if anybody has questions so far, but it's been a quiet chat. There's at the highest we had about 7 people right out the gate.
Okay. And you know why? Because so many people are shopping or wrapping presents. We know we're in the middle of Hanukkah. We've got Christmas, Christmas around the corner, Kwanzaa around the corner. It's that time. The malls are crazy. I tried to go to Wegmans today for a turkey breast, and I drove right back out of the parking lot. It was just way too many cars.
You couldn't find a spot.
So, well, I don't want to hold you, because we are a few days away from the holidays, and I do hope that we will talk to you again next year.
Oh,
and I want to congratulations on 10-10-10, all your 10-year anniversary, your 10 everything.
Yeah, $10 million, and
$10 million.
It's amazing. It's amazing, and we keep growing our staff. Wonderful people. A lot of our staff have come from the rare disease community, because we've met them at events, and then they start working part-time, and then they're great, and they want to work more, and then they would start working full-time. So
that's wonderful.
It's been a win all the way around.
Well, you're doing such a great service for so many communities. I mean, I've been in touch with a couple different health issues, but you know, it never seems to drag me fully down. I go a little down sometimes, but then I always think that there are organizations like yours, which just is packaged a little bit differently than the way I think many people are used to seeing organizations that are helpful. But you really do serve a greater purpose for many different illnesses and conditions and communities. So thank you so much for that.
Well, thank you, and we love you guys as a partner, and
Thank you.
you know, we're here to let people get a voice, and it's like, yeah, as you say, you can get down, but you've got an experience that you've had that can help others,
Right.
and may help you too, but
Exactly.
definitely can help others. So
Exactly.
you know, as bad as it could be, there's some positive that can come out of this stuff. So.
Absolutely. And rare is important, but every day is equally as important.
Yeah, rare, and as we say, also non-rare.
Also non-rare. That's right. You have your zebra rare and then also non-rare. Wes, thank you so much again for taking time out of your couple days before Christmas to join us. Actually, like what, 48 hours before it turns into the Arctic North Pole here in the Maryland area. But thank you again. It's always wonderful to get a chance to speak to you. I love learning more and more about your company, and I look forward to doing some great stuff with you in 2023.
Thanks so much, Karen. And
Thank you.
Let's all have a great 2023.
Absolutely.
COVID
Thank you,
free.
everybody.